All right, let's break down the teams that we would like to see a little more from. So it's just free agency is not over. There's going to be a lot of players that are signed and traded for between now and the season starting, even now and the rest of the month, that have big impacts on the 2025 season. So it's far from over. But I think we are at the point. There's not a lot of signings happening right now, not a lot of players left in the top 50, that there's a few teams out there that we can point to and say, like, I want to see what can you do a little more? We need a little more from you. Why don't you get us going, Patrick?
I would like to start with the team that we mentioned earlier. They decided to honor the contributions of Adam Thielen. I think the Carolina Panthers could do a little bit more, be a little bit more aggressive to the extent that they were last year. We saw the improvements that they made on the interior, and I know Adam Thielen's contributions have been great. The youth, if you're talking about addressing other spots at receiver through the draft, they're good there. Let's get Bryce another veteran target with the ones that are available. I just feel like it's an obvious move.
The wide receiver market has been slow to materialize for a lot of these guys. So in terms of name value, they are the best players out there. In terms of Amari Cooper and Stephon Diggs and Keenan Allen, there's got to be some receivers that help teams. So that's well said. They have been active. I will give them that.
And Patrick, I love Rico as a signing. I think that's great.
Mostly on the defensive side, but Trevon Moehrig, they re-signed Mike Jackson. They brought in Christian Roseboom, the former Ram. They signed Bobby Brown, the former Ram, Tershawn Wharton. So they have been spending a lot of money, most of it on defense. They gave Tommy Tremble a surprisingly good deal to come back. I'm going to go with the Bengals. Their outside free agents so far are Samaje Perine, who they're familiar with, TJ Slayton, which is just kind of a lottery ticket from the Packers. Just see what happens. Oren Burks. Maybe they just thought, well, Oren Burks has been in the Super Bowl the last
got championship DNA
couple of years, but that's like a rotational special teams guy. Not going to be starting for you. And then BJ Hill, they brought back. That was their biggest signing. If your whole offseason plan is just to save up the money for Hendrickson and T and Chase, like if you can execute that, I'll accept it, but it's also not a route to get better. Those guys were already on the team.
Yeah. It's time to do more.
A little more.
It can't just all be arguing and fighting with the talent that you've been able to accrue.
A little more. and I think they will. They are kind of a late in the game free agency type of team. Baltimore is very often one of those teams too. Give me another one.
A team that's back on this list after a great offseason in terms of splashy acquisitions, the Green Bay Packers. Went out and got a guy close to leading the NFL in interceptions, a top 5 rusher and a former rushing leader. And here we've got Aaron Banks and Nate Hobbs. There's still this discussion about the impending breakup with Jair Alexander. Myles Garrett got brought back to Cleveland. There's still need to add a big spot where they can create some sort of distance between the rest of the league and the best of the league. And they're just kind of there still.
Okay. I like that you're focusing too on one side, primarily the offense, because I did think about that with a few teams. Like, I guess you said Garrett, the defense as well, but the Seahawks and the Patriots have mostly just gone defense. Like they could go after offense, but I didn't. But since they've been aggressive, the Packers, they signed 2 players from my top 100, and a lot of people's probably top 50 in terms of Aaron Banks and Nate Hobbs. But you're not impressed.
No,
I'm going to go with the team that kept Myles Garrett. Okay, I actually think trading Myles Garrett would have made sense if you could get good draft picks and if it somehow would have opened up space to fill more holes. Because at this point, it's keeping Myles Garrett, and then Joe Tryon-Shoyinka you brought in for $5 million. Malik Collins keeps getting more and more money. Solid player, but a lot of guaranteed money for him. And then it's Pickett. It's bringing back Devin Bush, who hasn't been great, and that's it.
Okay, so we talked about all of the moves they've made currently make sense.
Yeah.
The Tennessee Titans have $72 million in cap space. I understand if you plan on drafting Cam Ward number 1 overall. That's not an excuse to not go out and try to acquire talent. It's just not. They need to be in more of these discussions and more of these conversations to where, I know you get into a bidding war with Dan Moore. It's still $15 million. Like, there's no – the money needs to be spent. That's why it's there. So go spend it.
Okay. They've tried. They brought in
try harder.
Zeitler. These are some surprising picks from you, and that's why I like having this exercise. We came up with 3 different teams entirely. They signed Draymond Jones and Sebastian Joseph. Dave, just a couple. It just feels like no matter who's running the Titans, they all have the same sort of players that they bring in. Like Draymond Jones could have been a Mike Vrabel Titan. He could have been who was the GM that was with him? John Robinson GM Titan. And now he's here like 2 GMs later, and they just signed the same sort of players. I'm going with the Falcons. You gave Leonard Floyd a bonus. Leonard Floyd at this point is diminishing returns. You gave pretty good money to Devon Diablo. You gave Jake Matthews huge money. I know he's never missed a game, but that was kind of a cap procedure. They seem like they're paying the piper for the Kirk Cousins deal, and they pushed hard last year to bring in players. And I get it, you can't every year, but I really think this is them eating it because of the Kirk Cousins dead money that's going to be on there.
Yeah, just trying to find
salary books,
like having to pay a premium for the bargain players where you still have to acquire the talent. But you don't know if you're going to be sitting there left at the end of this game in musical chairs. So you feel like, oh, well, we got to go here for Leonard Floyd, and we have to do it now because otherwise we're still sitting here with the curse of John Abraham and having nobody at the edge.
Yeah, but he's not breaking the curse. Good player, not breaking that curse. So those are 6 teams we just want to see a little more from.